situation, many will ask, what has India gained out of this? Because India was very clear and very unequivocal that we will not stop short of the terror infrastructure and network being dismantled. Has that happened on ground? At the moment, no. So what is India going to get in this respect is going to be watched out for very closely.
Good evening, Madhav, and thank you for having me on your panel. And good evening to my fellow panelists, all of whom are experts. I'm a layman, so I say that as a red herring. Couple of points I need to make out here. The first one is I feel right now like Jon Snow of Game of Thrones. I know nothing. And unless I read the fine print, or in fact, even the print of the ceasefire, I would not be able to make a reasoned and rational comment on what this ceasefire entails. But without that, I want to make a couple of comments. One, were our objectives accomplished? Those objectives were the following. When we started this, please remember the overwhelming support of the country for prime ministers and the armed forces Operation Sindhoor was that Pahalgam was the last straw on the camel's back. We've had multiple terror attacks over decades, but this time, the support was that you are going to dismantle Pakistan's infrastructure for terror once and for all. Have we achieved that objective? I am in no position to say that. So are the objectives of Operation Sindhoor achieved, i.e. has Pakistan agreed to give us or hand us over the perpetrators of the Pahalgam attack? Have most of the terror attacks hubs being neutralized there? Have we crippled Pakistan's defense infrastructure so that it's in no position to attack us the way it can possibly, or it has in the last decade or so? The second objective, which in my opinion was the following. The Indus Water Treaty is, I would say, the most important handle we have to keep Pakistan on the leash to check its terror attacks that it continuously has against us. Now, is the ceasefire involving something regarding the Indus Water Treaty, or has Pakistan agreed that we would, under the new terms of the ceasefire, agree to a permanent abrogation of this, or maybe rephrase it to our advantage? Number one. Finally, I have to say this, that I am disappointed that India did not declare it, or India or Pakistan together did not declare it, and Trump declared it, other nations declared it before us. This does not put me and Indians in a comfortable situation. Something as important as what was happening in the last couple of days, and as important as involving 1.4 billion people has been declared by someone who's not an Indian. Okay. Number two, I'm also disappointed by this one-line, very pithy remark of our country. I would have liked some more explanation, because now the next press conference, as declared by the person out there on the screen, would be in a couple of days' time. So all that does is leads to a lot of exactly the kind of things that I am talking right now. Ifs and buts, conspiracy theories, or conjectures, and that cannot be right for assuaging what the tempers were, if I can put it that way.
Well, there's outrage. There's undoubtedly been outrage, and that outrage is not going to go off overnight. Certainly, of course, let me bring in Ambassador Sinha back into this. I'm just coming to you, Colonel Amit Menon, in just a few moments. There is going to be that sense of disappointment, in the sense that many thought that at this time, at least, India will be able to ensure that the entire terror infrastructure is dismantled. That is something that India has faced for the past 3.5 decades. At the moment, while we are not very clear what's going to happen, as Dr. Ranganathan was saying, it's a very limited one-line statement. To that extent, is there going to be some amount of disappointment that the Indian government would have, or perhaps the Indian public would have, which the government would have to then deal with? Those are some important questions coming in, as Dr. Ranganathan stated it. How do you